Hi everyone, I am Monica Dwadasi, a Salesforce certified. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to work with Salesforce Techbook. Today I am going to discuss about Web to Lead. So the topic consists of how to enable Web to Lead settings and generate Web to Lead form and how to register and generate Recaptcha API key pair. Okay, so before going into these topics, you should understand what is a lead and how to create a lead. These topics are already discussed in our previous session, so please go through it before starting this session. Now, let's start. What is web to lead? If your company has a website, okay, if your company has a website, then the process of using a website form to capture visitors information and store that information as a new lead is called web to lead. Okay, but why are we using it? At present, the digital marketing is a big trend, right? When a person visits your website, it's important to know their interest. For this reason, you are directing that visitor to a form on your website where they can enter required information about themselves and their interest in our products. So this is an easy and powerful way to turn those visitors into your leads. Okay? Now, this whole process. To do this whole process, Salesforce has provided an out-of-box functionality that is web to lead. Okay, so before creating your web to lead form, you should enable some settings like web to lead enable. Okay, so you should enable this web to lead and then you should assign a user as a default lead creator. So default lead creator is nothing but your lead owner. Okay, so when you when a lead is generating from your website, you should assign a lead owner, right, by default. So you have to set the user here itself. So these are the pre required settings you have to do before creating and generating a lead. Okay, so after enabling this settings, then you have to save that settings and click on this create web to lead form. Okay, so after doing all the settings, then you click on this button to create your web to lead form. Okay, by clicking this button you will get web to lead setup. So here you will set up your form with all your required fields, like which are the fields you require to set your form, means like which data you want to capture. So those related fields you need to set in your form, like you need first name, last name, email, company, city. So these are in addition to, if you have any information to capture, you can select from these available fields and select those fields into your web to lead form. Okay, and the next is return URL. So what is return URL? This helps the lead to direct to some other websites or link upon submitting the form. So when the lead submits the button, you should say some thank you note, or you should ask some survey feedback, or you can show some any of your website link. Okay, so here you need to mention that is nothing but your return URL. And the next is include Recaptcha in HTML. So what is this Recaptcha? So Recaptcha is a free service provided by Google which helps to verify whether you are a robot or human. Okay, so with the help of this Recaptcha you can verify whether you are a robot or a human, right? So see, this is how your Recaptcha looks. Okay, see, nowadays I think you are very well about this. Like if you, by checking this recaptcha only, your further process is going on, right? So how do you enable this in your web form? So to enable this, you need to enter a key value pair. Okay, for that you need to register with Google Recaptcha website. After the registration, Google provides you the API key pair values. So with the help of those values, you can enable Recaptcha in your website. And one more thing here, the Recaptcha doesn't work in our form. Okay, so if you enable and if you put the API key pair into your web form, even though the Recaptcha doesn't work. Because Google by default provided this service to only official websites. Okay, so we are doing a sample website. This is not an official website, so it doesn't work in our sample website. But you can understand like how to generate and how to enable the Recaptcha in your website form. Okay, and now after enabling your Recaptcha, you can simply click on this generate button. By clicking this generate button, the Salesforce by default provide you a code for your web to lead form. You can simply copy paste this code and paste in your notepad and save it with HTML. Okay, and that HTML page can be used in any of your websites. Okay, anywhere in your website, and with the help of that HTML page you can generate leads in your Salesforce lead object. Okay, and not only in your website, you can also use in our Salesforce sites by embedding into a VF page, and you can use that page in your sites, and from your external sites also you can generate your leads into your Salesforce. Okay, now let's see practical everything. So go to your Salesforce instance. Okay, so what is the first thing you need to do? You need to enable the web to lead settings, right? So click web to lead settings. So here you need to enable it, right? Okay, so click this edit button. So if it is not enabled, you need to enable this. Okay, and one more thing, you can also disable this as per requirement. Like if you don't want to generate leads from your website, you can disable this. Okay, if you want to generate leads from your website, then you can enable this. And the next one is setting a user, nothing but your lead owner. So you are setting by default. So click the lookup page and you lookup you field, and you can select any one of the user from your organization. So go, and there are two, so I'm going with Salesforce Textbook. Okay, so these are the default settings, and even the response template also you can provide here, but here we are providing only lead owner and enabling the web to lead, and then save. So after saving these settings, then you click on this create web to lead form. Okay, so you're creating your form, right? So what does your form requires? It requires some fields or attributes like which you want to capture the data from your lead. So like first name, last name, all the personal details of the lead. And if you want any extra information, you can select here. Okay, like I want phone, so you can select, and you can save your web to lead form. And next is return URL. As I mentioned, the return URL redirects your lead upon submitting your web to lead form to a thank you page or survey feedback page or to any website which you provided. So here I'm going with our textbook blog, that is Salesforce Walker Blogspot. So upon submitting this form, it will redirect to this form. Okay, and next is include Recaptcha. So if you want to include this Recaptcha, as I mentioned, you need API key pair value, right? So to generate this API key pair value, first you need to Google your Recaptcha. Okay, and click on this Recaptcha Google, and click on this admin console button. So by clicking this admin console button, you need to provide some information like label your Recaptcha, our Salesforce webhook API, and select any one of your Recaptcha type and your domain name. So you should enter your Salesforce domain name or your site domain name, and click on and copy paste your site domain name, and you wanna accept the Recaptcha, then submit. Okay, so after submitting you will get your Recaptcha site and key values. Okay, so this is your site key and this is your secret key. So first, before entering these values, you just copy paste in your notepad. Okay, this is site key. Okay, and next is secret key. Okay, and now go back to your web to lead form. So here click on this lookup field, and then if you already have, you can include the Recaptcha, but now we'll see how we can generate the new one. So go here and enter your name, Salesforce API, and enter your site key and secret key. Okay, copy and paste. Salesforce API, paste. Okay, paste. Okay, and then save. So by saving this, you have generated the API key pair and you have included into your form. Okay, and now generate this button. So let's see how it looks our Recaptcha also. But as I mentioned, it doesn't work in our website form. Okay, generate. Okay, now Salesforce has provided you all the required code. So you can copy and paste in your notepad and save it as a HTML file. Okay. So for saving as a HTML file, you should include your HTML tag, right? So include your HTML tag and save it. Save as web to lead form.html. Okay, save. Now your web to lead form is saved. So let's see what does it contains. Okay, so this is the form which is provided by our Salesforce, right? By selecting all our required things. So now let's see. See here we have included our Recaptcha, right? So it is calling to your Google. The source is from Google, and this is how it calls from your Google. The response comes. Okay, and next is so how the callback is going on, like from your Salesforce API name and with your org ID, right? So it has to recognize your Salesforce instance org ID. So this is your Salesforce instance org ID. Okay, this is for Recaptcha. And the next is this is for your website form. This OID is nothing but your org ID of your Salesforce instance. Okay, so when the lead submits, it will generate to your Salesforce instance, right? So and then next is return URL. So this is Salesforce worker. So these things should not be edited by you. If you do some mistakes, your web to lead, the lead generation doesn't work properly. Okay, and one more thing is like you shouldn't share your org ID to any other strangers, because they may misuse your org ID and they can design your form, manipulate your form also. Okay, And the next is, what are the fields you have mentioned, like first name, last name, email, phone, company, city, state and province. And this is how our recaptcha looks here. Okay, the site key. Okay, and next is submit button. So this is how, and this is a simple HTML format. So you can also include your stylings in your HTML format, and you can design your web form as you like. Okay, now close this and let's see how it works. Okay, so go to desktop and open your web to lead form. Okay, okay, so now this is how it looks. Okay, now let's try whether the lead is created or not. As I mentioned, it doesn't work, so let's see once. The first name, mention Divya, Swati. Okay, and web to lead, right? Divya at the gmail.com, phone number, and company, Salesforce, textbook, city, Hyderabad, state, Telangana. Okay, now submit this. So by clicking on the submit button, it will redirect to your redirect to our website, right? So let's check this. Submit. Okay, yes, so this is working. So let's see whether our lead is created or not. So go to your sales application and leads. Okay, so today's leads, see, there is no lead generated because we have included the recaptcha. So now let's do without including the recaptcha. Okay, so go to your setup, web to lead, already settings are done. So click on create web to lead form. So all the fields are included, and just include our website, return URL. Okay, and exclude this one. Okay, and now generate, and same thing, copy, notepad, put HTML, paste, and close HTML. Okay, and save as all types, web to lead form 1, save. And don't override any file, because the overriding also doesn't works. Okay, you need to save with new name and simply open. Okay, now see, let's check. Divya, Swati, gmail.com, Salesforce, textbook, city, Hyderabad. Now submit. Okay, now let's see. So Divya Swati. So now it worked, right? So this is how you can generate your leads from your web to lead into your Salesforce. Okay, so you can, this is the way you can generate leads into your Salesforce with the help of web to lead form. Okay, see, by default you have provided Salesforce textbook owner, so we have not entered any lead owner field, right? So by default this setting has taken. And what are the fields you captured? All the data is in your lead record. Okay, So this is how you can generate your leads. Okay. And yes, so for more and yes, so there are few things need to be considered here, like you have to provide all the required fields into your form. If you by mistake miss any one of the required fields, your lead doesn't create. Okay. And next thing is validation rules. So any system validation or custom validation, anything, if you have any validation rules on your lead object, before creating the lead record, the system goes to your validation rules, and if anything is failed, and again there will be no lead record created. Okay. And the third one is like the Salesforce doesn't support rich text area on your web to lead form. If there is any rich text area field, it doesn't support, and it simply shows like a plain text only. Okay. And the fourth one is per day you can generate 500 leads through your web to lead form. If it is a beyond 500, there will be a notification sent to your default lead owner. Someone is trying to generate a lead, like some notification will be sending to your lead owner. And the fifth one is like the date and currency, like if there is anything like day, like on which day the lead is generated, and if we mention any amount fields, then the currency fields are automatically populated from your Salesforce organization default settings. Okay. So these things you need to be considered while creating your web to lead form. And for more information, please go through these websites. And thank you. And please subscribe to Salesforce Tech.